whatever happened between you and the other short bus driver, Brian Lisagang?
Yeah, Brian was an amazing talent. He is more of a Pro Tools orientated composer. I always kind of felt like I wanted to try some other things out. Brian did too. Mm-hmm. He actually worked on this record.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he worked on this new record, so he's kind of back.
Sure.
But he's got a band called Ashtar Command, and they're awesome. And so he's busy. He's been real busy in the last 10 years. So, yeah.
I guess that explains him working on the new album, how you got that little bit of that industrial sound back.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bob Marlette was a huge no slight on Brian Lisagang, but Bob Marlette actually was like, Anthems was great. It was a tribute record. Mm-hmm. We're done with the tribute records. You're going back to like Tidal and Short Bus, and you're going back to that world. And actually, Bruce Summers from Kidney Thieves did all the sound design for Relapse.
Nice.
So it's a real community-oriented record. Mm-hmm. I've always thought a Filter is kind of like that. So. There's a lot of people that worked on this record. There's a lot of people that worked on it. Mitch Marlowe, Yogi, Bob Marlette, John Spiker, John Five, Bruce Summers. I mean, it's a lot of people. Our drummer, Mika Finio.
The concept of the soundtrack for the movie Spawn was kind of silly, considering many of the rock bands featured on it were doing the whole electric rock crossover thing anyway. But some really amazing songs, including Trip Like I Do, that you did with Crystal Method, came out of it. Are you still interested in making stuff that's grounded in electronic?
Way more electronic? I mean...
Or do you like sticking
I kind of... my musical... My musical styles change. Mm-hmm. I actually, there was a record company president that literally was like, what Disturbed does? Every song sounds very similar. It's very similar. Just do that. Because you gave him, hey man, nice shot, and now you're giving him take a picture. Take a picture. You're confusing your audience. You're making it, and I'm like, if I wanted to really cash in, you know what I mean? Maybe I would have practiced my guitar. You know what I mean? Like, but to me, it's like, Dean DeLeo, when we did Army of Anyone, he was like, I don't want to paint the same picture 10 times. I want to really explore things. And we did. Yeah. And, so I needed to kind of, at least on this record, Trouble with Angels, I needed to make sure it went back to at least something recognizable like Tidal, like Amalgama, like Short Bus, more Tidal and Short Bus. And that's what we did, and that's why I like the record so much.
Should the song White Like That be taken at face value, a song about the struggles of white Americans to be judged by their ancestral slave links, or is it not that at all?
Jeez, wow. Woo! Taking myself too seriously. I don't know. I saw a band that was out, and they went like, I'm chill like that. I'm cool like that. I'm black like that. And I just thought to myself, that sounds a little like what do you mean? Like all of a sudden there's a difference? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think that, I don't know, when you say things like that, it to me it's just like you're making the distinction.
Right.
And you're making it a thing, like it's over, we're all on the planet, it's one world, we get it. Every time you see these guys that we're Islamic, and we're gonna fucking make our women, and this is the way it is, god damn it, the more you kind of put an emphasis on that, to me it's kind of like you need to get pushed a little bit, pushed back a little bit. And I just thought it was a little, I know you're black. We love you. And I love that record. That was a great record. I can't remember the name of it right now. But I just thought to myself, would I take any heat if I said I'm our blood's the same, and we're white like that, and you know, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're all on the thing. You know, if I say it, I'm a racist. If you say it, it's equal rights movement. I'm like, well, isn't that kind of, isn't that still kind of being a little, at least that's what I was thinking,
right.
you know, when I was 25. So.
Since you've sought professional help where your vocals are concerned, do you think that having no formal guitar lessons has been an advantage or a disadvantage to Filter?
I have a guitar player friend that knows every single possible, conceivable thing you could do on a guitar, but I don't think he's really met his creative boundary. Whereas my heroes like Kurt Cobain or The Edge, I think that those guys, because of their limitations, they're like, well, I'll turn on a delay, I'll turn on an echo pedal and use it to get my point across, because I don't really want to sit down and figure out something, you know, that I just want to make music. So they kind of create a whole new sound for themselves. And I think that if you know everything, then like, how are you going to be excited about writing something that has already been written? You know what I mean? Like in some way, you know what I mean? Like, you know, Adam Jones, you know, and I don't mean to name drop, but I took this as a really cool thing. Adam Jones said, you know what I love about Filter? He's like, man, I love Filter because, you know, we talk, we run into each other. And he was just like, you know what? The thing I love about Filter is it's simple. It's really simple. And it's just going for a real, like, you're going to power drop that fucking chorus and just nail and scream. And that's how I get my point across. And I think that as long as it works, as long as you're being creative, I don't think you should necessarily be the greatest singer in the world. Although I did see someone that was just incredible the other day, Jessie J. Unbelievable. She's just got totally everything. Like, her voice was just... So I think that talent is super important. At the same time, I love it when, you know, I don't think Neil Young's the greatest singer in the world, but God, he's got so much character, and it's so important, you know, what he's doing by just kind of... You know, I never thought Billy Corgan was necessarily the greatest sounding voice in the world, but God, the passion behind it, you know. So I don't know. I enjoy my new stance on music is just try to like everything. Like, I love hip hop, I love R&B, I love, you know, there's so much music out there to enjoy, and there's so many great people doing it. Find it and buy it. Which you are not doing, by the way.
Each progressive Filter release seems to have something shockingly different. For example, Take a Picture had a completely different sound than we heard on Short Bus. And now on The Trouble with Angels, the song Inevitable Relapse, you seem to incorporate some auto-tune.
Yeah.
Are you ever nervous about doing new stuff?
Well, does
it just excite you, or what?
The auto-tune was actually, to me, it sounds like a vocoder, and it's a studio trick. It's just something that it alters your voice. Apparently, it has been incredibly abused, and I didn't think my fans would care because I used a drum machine on the first Filter record, which is a complete steal from hip-hop. You know what I mean? And I'd have to say that when I hear the auto-tune, I'm just thinking to myself, that reminds me of when I was at the club scoring drugs. I mean, that's what I was going for. It always was on. Even 10 years ago, I wasn't doing it to like make such a big, huge thing about it, but like people really have freaked out about it, which is fine. But you know, it was the first song they had heard in 2 years, and I told them it was going to be the Filter, you know, the old traditional Filter sound, and then they were like, "What, auto-tune?" I'm like, "But it's only 30 seconds of a 90-minute record." You know, and I thought, well, maybe we shouldn't have went with that as the first single, but the reality is, you You know what? When I partied, I went to a club. Auto-tune was all over the vocals. I thought it was kind of funny, and that's kind of where I still see it today. And I think I still love that song. It's like super crazy, and so.
Some of your best songs and most emotional songs have to do with heartache and failed relationships.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel tempted to start fights with your wife just to get some inspiration?
The great thing about Bob Marlette is like, hey, you know, write what you know, but you've lived. You can go back off your experiences and not, you know, write what you feel now. Because me and my wife, we're just like, you know, me and my wife have been through so much, and you know, to start some kind of a fight now, my God, she'd be like, get the fuck out of here. But no, I have a whole bevy of life experiences now. You know, it's like, I think young people, like young bands, they look for things to write about. Like I was looking for things to write about. Like, okay, I'll write about Arba Dwyer. I'll write about, you know, suicide and stuff. But until you've kind of lived a little bit, you really can't talk about love unless you've, you know what I mean? You know, I guess the Jonas Brothers have experienced some form of love, but I don't think, you know what I mean? Like, they can write about it, I guess, from their perspective that it does exist in their mind. So but to me, it's like, you better have shit to back that up. And when I was writing those love songs, I mean, it was literally like, we just broke up, turn the mic on, you know, it was, you know, that kind of a thing. And I think that authentic pain from that experience made those songs better. You know? Right.
Now, you said in interviews that you wanted on Angels, you wanted to capture some of the short bus sound, but you didn't want to use a drum machine. Now, as an experienced musician, do you just like that sound better, or is it more a matter of actually having a drummer you can call upon?
Well, we use drum machine all throughout this record.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Well, you know, the song, you know, Relapse, the drums don't kick in until the pre-chorus. Same thing with Catch a Falling Knife, which is the verses are drum machine and programmed, and then the choruses kick in and you hear his drums go off. Yeah, there's always it's ever since like Tidal, I've been trying to mix the two and enjoy that. You know, Short Bus was literally like, do you know any drummers? No. Well, I can program some stuff. But it was kind of like a God, what's that record? Godflesh. We were literally like, hey, if we had drums, let's just program something insane that a real drummer couldn't do anyways, because we don't have a drummer. So why don't we had cymbals going the whole time, and you know, we had like, you can't play hi-hat and 16th note, you know, snare fills at the same time. We were like, you know, Brian came in, he's like, well, we got to erase these hi-hat notes. I'm like, fuck it, you know, it takes the momentum away. And you know, so it was a lot of rule breaking. You know, I interpret every time we get to our music, it's got to change, it's got to grow, it's got to be everything. You don't sing everything exactly the same. I screw lyrics up and I'll ad lib and stuff. You know, you got to kind of roll with it. You know? And I think the live arena is the best way to kind of keep that fresh. I play Hey Man, Nice Shot, and Take a Picture, and you know, all these songs. I've played them for 15 years straight. It never gets old. It's always fun. There's always this amazing energy that you get from the audience. And so,
you got anything else you'd like to add?
Thanks. Trouble with Angels, it's out. I don't know.
We got a review of it on our site.
Come and I have nothing. I was trying to think of something. Nothing.
Buy CDs.
Buy our CD for sure. Shit. Why not? And our cologne.